Anybody who watches our lives, you know the shtick. I wait for about a minute for people to hop on here, and then I go ahead and do a little talking. Tonight's not going to be real long. Lucky you. So it's getting a little late. I actually just ran my neck over on Facebook, did a live over there for some of those folks. Just kind of spreading the word, about what we're doing here. So we're gonna try and start doing what is it, StreamYard or whatever, where we can multi-platform stream at the same time. It's kind of hard, to go live and run my neck for a long time on multiple platforms, multiple times a day or multiple times a week. So we're gonna be looking at some options, and we're gonna be trying to solve our streaming issue. I know I've looked at a lot of our, hey, there we go, we got somebody. I've looked at a lot of our prior lives, and they've been terrible. The feed quality, I apologize right now, it might look terrible. Let me know, please. How does the feed quality look? I gotta remind you that we do this all on cellular. So as the cellular connection goes in and out, it can really, really affect our feed quality. So we're looking at some options. I don't know exactly what we're gonna do. I don't know, maybe I'll be hauling around a Starlink behind my four-wheeler out here in the pasture so I can get you guys some better quality footage and it's not all pixelated and junk, So yeah, apologize for that in the past. So see, we got some folks on here. So we're just out here with the cattle again. I want to show you guys, kind of give you an update, what's going on, why we're doing what we're doing, and why it doesn't look anything like the Total Grazing Program currently, right? So real quick, I'll give you a little backstory. So what we were doing, for those of you that are on here that have not watched one of our lives, we practice what is called the Total Grazing Program. It is taught by Jim Elizondo at Real Wealth Ranching. It is absolutely a revolutionary way of managing land and cattle. It's very radical. It allows you to be very, very productive. And yeah, it is a nice view. It's beautiful here. And it makes you way more profitable. Now, I say profitable, yes, potential profitability, because right now we are not selling anything. We are just growing a cow-calf operation. So we're keeping back basically everything unless it goes sick or we eat it. So we're trying to grow our numbers. What this system has allowed us to do in the Total Grazing Program is grow so much more grass than we did ever historically before, that now we are in a very odd situation I never thought I'd find myself in, honestly, this early into my regenerative ranching career. We need more cows because we have too much grass. So the best way to manage your grass in your land is with more cows. Well, it happened so fast, I guess I wasn't really ready for it financially to just go, oh, I need to go spend 50 grand on cows. Woo. So right now we're just gonna keep working on our own genetics and building our herd with what we got. So here we go. We'll flip around, show you guys some condition and talk about why we are grazing the way we're grazing currently. So if you see, our cattle right now are spread out all over Timbuktu. This looks like just about how everybody else on the planet runs cattle. This is not how we try to run our cattle. The goal is to run them at ultra high stocking densities when we can do it. What is ultra high stock density? Well, ultra high stock density is putting a whole lot of animals, grazing animals, ruminants, whatever, hindgut fermenters like that horse over there, and putting them in a very tight, small area. And what that does for you, it gives your land a ton of animal impact, and it ends up ultimately increasing your productivity because it gives them this ability or this desire to be very competitive with each other. So when you put them in a very tight spot, they all start eating very voraciously, and they end up consuming almost all of the available forage, including things like this ironweed right here. Now, they're not touching this currently, and they're not going to, because I have them in very low stock densities. They're just kind of all over, and they're able to just eat what they prefer, not eat what's been provided for them. So they're kind of like spoiled kids, right? Yes, we got red cows. These are South Pole cattle. So the reason that we're grazing where we are right now is because their conditions started suffering. I was still grazing them at too high stock densities when the forage quality of our grass really started falling apart, right? It means we were low in available protein and carbohydrates, sugars. So they they ended up starting to lose a little bit of body condition, which is the last thing you want to do with your cattle. So understand that, as you can see right here, see this great big giant bull calf that is now nursing his mother still. Well, it's very, very important to give them the proper nutrition. Well, why? Because they are at their absolute peak requirement of nutritional intake right now, because they are lactating. So, ew, ugly. Yeah, you are. I agree. Perfect. So, you got to make sure they got a lot of nutrition, and it has to be top quality nutrition. You can't let them suffer. Now, if these were dry cows, i.e. cows that don't have a calf at their side nursing on them, well, they don't have much nutritional requirement, although some people would say, oh, they're eating for two. No, actually, they are eating for two when they have when they're lactating and nursing a calf. So you got to really keep the quality on them, the forage, right? So really, really important. So what ends up happening is you got a calf drawing down their body condition, basically sucking the life out of them. And you have got to take and make sure they have good enough body condition so that they take and breed back. Because if they don't breed back, you're in a losing proposition, because profitability in a cow-calf operation is all about getting calves to come out of your cows. If they have too low body condition, they're not going to breed back. If they don't breed back, you're going to have a freeloader on your land taking forage just like that all year long without giving you some saleable product. So it is really important and has to be stressed heavily that if you're going to be grazing cattle and you're a cow-calf operator, that you have to keep the absolute best forage quality in front of your cattle. So our forage quality started suffering. So I said, screw it. You know what? I just care about condition at the moment. We have so much available forage on the land because of this grazing program and what we're doing that I'm by no means short on forage. So I said, screw it. We're going to give some of these bigger areas and just let them pick through it. They're going to cherry pick it. They're going to put on a ton of condition to get fat like her. See how round she's getting? She's just very, very filled out. And make sure that they have the proper nutritional requirements. So, or their requirements are being met. So we have been actually currently in the breeding season. We exposed all these cows to our bull here on July 5th. So July 5th, we put him in here. And so these cows have all been exposed since then. Now, should we have pulled him already? Yes, we should have already pulled him if we wanted to make sure. I mean, there's no point in keeping your bull in a very, very long time to extend your possible calving season if you have these hard keepers that don't breed back well, unless you're in our position. Because if you're in our position, you just want more cows, even if they're in an extended breeding season. So we're just leaving them in here to mop up the girls that maybe are still open. So I'm not too concerned about that. In the future, when we start reaching closer to our maximum carrying capacity of our land, meaning we have as many cows as we can support on grass and grass alone, then we will tighten up our breeding season and we will let the cream rise to the top, meaning any of the cows that don't breed inside that 46-day exposure period to a bull, they're out of the program. They get sold. They're off the farm. So most likely they will end up going to be processed for burger somewhere. And the reason that is, I know it sounds cold-hearted, but when you have animals in captivity like this, you have to be the predator in your herd, because we have taken the predator out of nature, right? So, meaning you have to get rid of the poorer animals, the weak, the sick, the slow, the ones that don't breed back. You can't have them. They're just a detriment to your operation. You got to get them out of there. You need animals that are highly fertile and have inherent body condition. So what is inherent body condition? Well, inherent body condition is a heritable trait that's passed down through progeny to the progeny from the sire and the dam, meaning that you have a good dam and a good sire, and they end up giving you an animal that will keep good condition on lower quality forages. So the better your genetics and the higher feed conversion efficiency that your animals have, the fatter that they will become and the better condition they will have and the easier they will breed back, so on and so forth. So those are the things that you need to breed for first and foremost. Now, right at the very, very top of the list for us around here is docility. We like docile cows. I do not want any crazy fence jumping, trying to run me over and kill me when I try and tag or calf or work an animal. No, we don't do that here. You can see I'm on foot in here with my bull, with the herd, with my cows. I can go pet a lot of these girls here. Let's go see. They're a little bit leery of the selfie stick that I'm holding right now. They think it's some witchcraft. Let's see here. So 5'11", she's not the most friendly ever, but she's pretty good. She'll let me give her some pets. Sometimes she comes up for scratches. You can see the dappling on her. It's really beautiful. 803, she's like so-so. Where are my go-tos? I got some that use me like scratching posts. Here we go. She's this is 283, also affectionately known as tagless. Hence she doesn't have a tag. See, she's like, what is that selfie stick? She is very, very docile. My daughter can actually ride her. Now, was that taught or trained? No. It's just a heritable trait. Very, very docile animals. They have an inherent ability to just be curious of humans and be able to interact with us gently and calmly and not try and murder us. So, you know, that's what I like. Here's my bull. Let's flip around. Let's go see him, Bruno. Oh, you want to say hi to everybody? You want to snip the camera? Yeah? Okay, yeah. Oh, don't lick it though. Okay, let's go look at him. Here's my big boy. Now, you can see he's a big scary beast. He's very, very vicious. And he couldn't hardly care less that, I mean, honestly, he really, really enjoys it. He likes his daily scratches. But he's really occupied looking at those couple of cows that are over there. So he's very interested in them. Because, you know, he's intact. He's doing what he wants, what he knows to do. And the way he's drooling, the way he's looking, I kind of want to think he might have scented some of those girls that are in heat. Here's 36. She's coming up for a scratch. She still hasn't quite figured out how to hold still and let me scratch her. A lot of times she throws her head everywhere. But yeah, you know, this is what we like. This is the kind of cattle I like. I don't like the crazy ones that are going to kill me, you know. No, thank you. So, is this Sweetie? Oh, 971. Yeah. See, here's another vicious creature. So, like again, we didn't train them to be like this. They just love people, and they're just easy to handle, you know. So she just came out like this. I mean, she was kind of like this almost since day one. She's just always been a very, very sweet, docile animal. She comes and finds me in the pasture because she wants her daily scratches. And are you going to come over for more? Yeah? No? Okay. So, yeah, so the grazing system that you're seeing right now, like I said, it really, really looks like everything else you've probably ever seen, you know. Cows and grass, and they're on it, and they're eating it. But how this normally works is we try and keep them in very, very small, tight, confined areas and move them up to 4 times every single day to brand new, fresh, fully covered grass. And what it ultimately allows you to do when you have your animals in those very, very tight areas, you end up with a lot more competitiveness. And that's kind of the magic that really starts happening. So coupled with that is not just the competitiveness, but the massive amount of animal impact that you're putting on the ground. So you get a lot better manure distribution. Like right now, I'm standing here and I'm looking all around. I don't even see one cow pie. Like, I don't know where they go hide them, but when you have them in these big, great, giant open areas, the manure distribution is very, very poor. The animal impact is very low. And those are all the things that you want because that actually really helps to stimulate things in the soil, like tillering of plants and new seedling germination because, well, you get better seed to soil contact when you have hooves stamping down on it, right? So that's kind of the magic that happens. So what is ultra high density stocking or stocking rates? Well, I don't consider ultra high density until we hit somewhere around 400,000 pounds of animal stock density per acre. So what does that mean? That means if I had 1 acre and I had 400 1,000 pound cows, we would have roughly 400,000 pound stock density. Well, what if I don't have 400 cows that weigh 1,000 pounds? Well, then I got to give them a much, much smaller area than an acre, right? So what we have roughly and what we were grazing at when our grass was at peak volume down here in this bottom field, I calculated that I was harvesting right around 259 cow days per acre, right, in one grazing event. Well, how did we do that? We put them really tight together and they were just like nose to butt in their grazing. And boy, they graze it all. And when you graze that much forage, it allows you to move very, very slow across your land. So that's the goal. And when you, well, okay, so you graze slow across your land, and that gives everything more time and rest and recovery, so you don't circle your farm so fast, coming back and constantly regrazing grass that hasn't recovered. And every time you do that, if you do that, you end up with imbalance of energy. Your plant roots are not fully restored to their full potential energy reserve, right? And so you continually weakening that plant until it finally just dies, and all the undesirables just come in, right? And that's what happens with selective grazing. We're not selective grazers by nature anymore, although at the moment I'm selectively grazing. So I'll get to that. Why am I selectively grazing? Well, the condition on the animals started falling. They started looking too thin for my liking, and I just couldn't keep the condition on them, even though I was like kind of lessening their stock density and lessened it more, and pretty soon I just went, it's not enough. The forage quality is too poor, and I just went, have this giant paddock, go pick the candy of it, take what you want, leave what you don't. And so they're getting much better nutrition now. So they're putting on a lot of really good condition. They're really fattening up. You can see how slick and smooth and rounded her corners are, right? You don't want corners on a cow. If you got a lot of sharp looking objects poking out of a cow, you're in a losing proposition. So right now, let's look at what she's on, and I'll show you. There's some fescue in here right now, but there's actually some vegetative, which is crazy, pasture grass. All very, very high protein, high palatability. It's very good for them. They can gain like crazy on it. Honestly, this is summer, and I know this might be a bold statement to say, but some of this grass that they're currently on right here is probably 2 to 3 pound a day kind of gain stuff. Now, is all of our farm like that right now? Oh no. We have a lot of warm season grasses that have been allowed to mature way too much, okay? So that's why our quality's down. Let me catch up to some of these comments. Sorry, guys. Now, okay, I am full-time here. Yes, I'm a full-time content creator, YouTuber, social media dork. You know, that's all we do here. We do Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. It is our full-time living. We currently do not make a penny off of our cattle because all we're doing is building a herd. So we're keeping everything back. We're selling nothing. We keep some steers for ourselves. We butcher them and put them in our freezer. It is some absolutely amazingly high quality, very, very rich, very energy dense, amazing beef. Now, all that being said, do I have a real job off of the ranch? No, I do not. We work here full time. So that is a caveat to the Total Grazing Program and ultra high stock densities with multiple time of day moves. If you don't have the ability to be here all the time, then you have to do things like bring in a little bit different systems or mechanical devices like automatic fence lifters. There are these devices, they go on top of a pole, and they have a timer and a little solar panel and blah, blah, blah. And when the timer goes off, it just goes ring, and it winds up this cord that's connected to your hot fence, and it just lifts it up, and the cattle go right underneath it into the next paddock. And so it automatically will move them forward through their grazing progression for you during the day. And all it has to do is open the fence in front. They can go forward and graze, and they can still walk back out underneath it to get back to their water that is in the original grazing paddock, right? What we do, we build these things called cells. It's a wire on each side. Think of it as a football field. On the sidelines, there's a hot fence on each sideline, and then we set a wire at the back of the end zone. And then the first wire of the front fence wire that we put, let's say we put it at the 5-yard line, okay? So say they have roughly 15 yards of area in their first grazing break. Well, why do we do that? Because we keep horses with our cattle. If we didn't have horses with our cattle, we'd just keep them tied all the time. But I like to have that first break, that first area inside our cell a little bigger, because the horses can kind of harass them a little bit and push them around. And we don't want them jumping through the fence. But from then on, all we do 4 times a day, we move it like, say, 5 yards, and then 5 yards, and then 5 yards. And we do that for up to 3 days. And at the end of 3 days, 72 hours, roughly, give or take, we take the wire that was on the end zone, right? And we move it forward up the field to then trap the cattle further forward. And we move the water and we move the mineral. And then we don't let them have access back to said end zone, because if you do, they'll start eating the regrowth. And if they eat the regrowth, that's how you ultimately end up overgrazing. So the regrowth that comes up from a plant is energy store driven. It comes from the roots of the plant and the crown of the plant. And when it starts popping up that new leaf, it's all energy. It's all carbohydrates and sugars, and it's very, very palatable. It's like candy to them, and they're like, ooh, yeah, and they go right back over there, and they graze it off again. Well, what do you think happened? That plant didn't have time to generate leaves to photosynthesize, to regain and restore its energies that you took out of it. All you did was put it in a deficit. So those are the things we really try and avoid. And so that's kind of what this grazing system is all about, right? All right, let's see here. What do you do when all your cattle is sick at the same time? They've never been sick at the same time. We've only ever had actually a few issues. We got them. We had some issues with like BRD, a respiratory issue when we first got the cattle due to stress. It was very, very hot. They went through a very stressful move hauling them down here. So we battled that a little bit. And then since then we've really had nothing other than a little bit of fescue toxicity that at the time I wasn't intelligent enough to recognize. And I did finally catch it and managed it, but we just don't have sicknesses. We don't have problems, and we don't have pink eye so far. No pink eye, no foot rot, none of these things, because hey, see, she just loves it. She just comes up and starts rubbing on me. Because we really, really work on a very balanced nutrition, right? So we make sure they're getting a balanced ration so that their rumen is functioning properly. If you destroy your animal's rumen by things like, antibiotics or scouring the hell out of them with, hey, stop it, you're getting too rowdy. Damn, she's getting wild. She's getting a little frisky. By too high energy grasses, and you scour them and you give them ruminal acidosis, you will destroy their immune system, because it's said that about 80% of a ruminant's immune system comes from their gut. So if you do that, and then they are exposed to, which they will always be exposed to, pink eye. They will always be exposed to bacteria that can be very, very harmful to them. But if their immune system is compromised, then they're going to get sick. So yeah, we're really big on that. I'm a huge believer that most pink eye is caused by improper grazing early in the season when they're grazing that rocket fuel grass, that very, very short, very high energy, low fiber grass, and they get ruminal acidosis, and it changes the pH of their bodily fluids, and it can really change and alter the microbial activity in their gut. It can kill a lot of it off, the really beneficial stuff. And so then it weakens their immune system, and then they're exposed to something, boom, they're sick. So now, am I going to sit here and say we're never going to have pink eye in our herd? No, I'm not going to say that. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but we haven't yet. We've had basically no sicknesses, illnesses. Look at them. It's cooling off, so they're getting really frisky. She's just over there attacking that tree. Get it, 970. She's like one of the most docile cattle we have too. She's just like a little puppy. She's over there just telling that branch who's boss. So, all right, who else we got here? Let's see. Sorry guys, let me get back a little bit. Yeah, there's some dumb comments earlier, whatever. Daily diet. Yeah, just grass. Now, if, no, I shouldn't say that. 99% of the time, it's just grass, and we will supplement some protein. And what my preferred choice of protein supplement would be soy meal, and it tests out somewhere around 46% protein by weight. And the only reason we give that to them is, say, if their manure starts getting too thick, too stacked up, too much fiber in it, not enough energy in the grass, then we will supplement a little bit of that if we have to. Now, we can just move forward, get them on better grass, selectively graze them. There's a lot of things you can do like that. But for the most part, it's get out of the troughs, Ona. Oh, my gigantic draft horse. Look at this clown. She's over here just stomping in the freaking centipede troughs. Like, yeah, this is fun. I'm going to walk in it. Big dingus. 2,100-pound horse stomping through my troughs. These are something I just put together the other day. They work awesome. I can literally pull them with one finger. It's just a bunch of poly 55-gallon drums bolted together with fender washers. Right there, big fender washers, 1/4-inch bolts. Watch out, Blanton. Come on, I'm coming in. Watch out, buddy. Yeah. Oh, scary selfie stick. And look at this. Literally, I'll pick it up with one finger and I can just haul it, right? So we use those. Boy, everybody's getting loud. We use those to put the soy protein in when we need to. That's my bowl. Are you done? Gosh, they just get all wired up. It's getting cool. It's getting really cool. So that's another thing. Their body condition is really, really changing currently, like before my eyes, because the temperatures are dropping, right? So as the temperature drops, look, I went and touched the trough, so they all think I put some soy protein in there. You fatties. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Yeah, my killer bowl right here. Okay, anyway, so yeah, a little bit of soy protein we throw in there if we need to. Watch the manure. That's the best way to find out what's going on with your animals' rumen, with their nutrition. If the manure looks something like pancake batter, cake batter, something like that, you're on the right track. It should only be about maybe an inch tall, something like that, and like a pie plate, right? So pretty thin, doesn't stack up. If it starts getting really clumpy and stacks up, if it starts looking like a bunch of cinnamon rolls, oh, you got problems. Your animal is losing massive amounts of condition and body weight daily right before your eyes. So that's what we do. We just watch them. Yes. How you doing, girl? 283 here. What are you doing? See, she's really interested in the selfie stick. So we love our very, very docile animals. This is what we do here. You know, we don't cowboy. We don't need to. They're so docile. I can just call them. I won't do it right now. I'll get them so worked up, but I can give them one call and they just come running. So they're very easy to handle, very, very easy to manage. You know, I grew up in the West and around a lot of traditional ranching cattlemen, and you know, it's dude up and saddle up and run some crazy ass animals all over the countryside, and half the time they're trying to kill you and they're brushing up and jumping creeks and just going nuts. And that's not what we do here. It's just very, very different, right? I like my animals very tame. We treat them like, you know, pets. We really do. Will we eat them still? Yes, we will. You know, they serve a purpose, but we give them the best life we can absolutely give them. That's my mantra around here. Let's see. Oh yeah, they love the phone. They do. Well, I shouldn't say that. Some of them are like, they think it's the stick of death. Let's see. Hey, Wes. Hey, man. Oh, cow days. Okay. Yeah, if you're still there, bud. Sorry, I didn't get to you. Yes, a cow day is a measurement of animal intake, forage, right? Dry matter forage, relational to 1,000-pound unit. Now, I can say, you know, animal units or unit. I just say cow days. That means what a 1,000-pound cow will take in 1 day. Now, there's kind of a variance to that, right? If you're running stockers, or if you've got a dry cow, or if you've got a lactating cow, those are all going to be a little bit different measurements. So that could vary anywhere from 2.5% of their body weight to 3.5% of their body weight, depending on their nutritional requirements due to whatever it may be, right? If they're lactating, or if they're dry, or whatever, or a calf, right? So roughly, so if it's say 3%, right? 3% of a 1,000-pound animal is going to be 30 pounds of dry matter forage. And so that's how we calculate the amount of efficiency, harvest efficiency. So when I have a specific area, say I do an average of like 3 days, how much area that we have grazed, and I just kind of eyeball what I think that their utilization is. Utilization doesn't have an effect at all. I just want to kind of know, right? Utilization is how much of the available forage they took. But I know that they're taking somewhere around 30 to 35 pounds per 1,000 pounds. So a cow day doesn't necessarily mean, say if I have, say I have 30 animal units, that doesn't necessarily mean I have 30 animals. It means I have 30,000 pounds of animal. And so it's a very easy number to work with, 1,000-pound unit, percentages off of it, so on and so forth. So what I do is I have an area and I'm like, okay, this area was 200 feet long and 400 feet wide or whatever, and we consumed that in X amount of days, then I can figure the pretty close, you know, plus or minus a few percent of how much forage they consumed in any given area. And then that gives us an idea of our harvest, or our harvest efficiency, or how much forage we're actually growing on our land. So I shouldn't even say harvest efficiency. Harvest efficiency is how much the cows are eating. But if they're consuming 90% of what's there, then it kind of gives me an idea of how much total available forage was on the land. And those are really, really important things to know, because that allows me to track year over how productive my land is. So up this way, a little bit further up this paddock, pasture bottom, back up in there, I figured that we had, you know, again, give or take a couple percent, but we were harvesting like 259 cow days of forage per acre. Those are some pretty big numbers, right? So remember, 365 cow days per acre of harvest equates to a 1-to-1 animal carrying capacity, right? That means 1 acre to carry one 1,000 pound animal for 365 days a year with 0 additional inputs, i.e., well, I shouldn't say 0, because we will give them some protein, but no hay, right? Now, during that part of the year, we weren't feeding anything except for grass. So 259 days, right? Our next grazing through here, I guarantee we're going to get at least 100 cow days in several of these areas or more, right? I'm not saying only 100, but at least 100. So that means that we're right there knocking on that 365 cow day a year productivity out of this field, which last year didn't hardly grow anything. So those are some huge numbers. Those are some really, really exciting things for us here, because that proves that our land is increasing in productivity tremendously, utilizing and implementing the Total Grazing Program and its theories and techniques. So if you're a grazier, if you have cattle, if you have land, man, you have to at least consider it. I'm not saying you have to become a full-blown grazer or a total grazer, but I'm telling you, if you're not at least trying it, experimenting with it, you're missing out. It's unbelievable. It has completely changed everything for us here, like crazy, right? All right, let's get back to some more. What if they eat a poisonous mushroom? Well, maybe they'll have a good trip. Let's see. Can you see the bull? I don't know where he went. It's getting a little dark. It's actually crazy that you guys can see where I can see with the camera better than I can actually see with my naked eye right now. It's getting really... Oh, thank you. Beautiful animals. Appreciate it. Where do you find most of your guidance? Yeah. So I just said Jim Elizondo at Real Wealth Ranching. Check him out. The guy consults all over the world. He knows how to help people manage in very, very arid, very dry, very low rainfall areas, all the way to very high rainfall areas, to tropical, to I mean, you name it, high elevation, low elevation, Mexico, North America, I mean, everywhere. Well, that is North America. Let's see. Yo, what's up, NorCal Krakens? Cause break it down to smaller sections and what you have there for forage. How many cows would you run on 5 acres, on 20 acres? Right. Okay, so it up here. Just give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. Okay, so if you're at a 1-to-1 carrying capacity, you could run 5 cows on 5 acres year round without having to feed hay, right? Now, that's a lofty goal and it takes time to reach it. But there are plenty of guys that are actually out there currently doing that. We're a ways off from it, but I think in the next couple of years, we'll be knocking on the door of a 1-to-1 carrying capacity on the majority of our land. Now, does that mean every acre of land we have here will be that productive? No. There are areas here literally that I can cuss my brains out for 10 minutes trying to put 1 step-in post in the ground because it's that rocky, and we're still growing grass on it though. So that's pretty impressive. Currently we have, oh geez, what do we got? With the horses and everything, I mean, we only have like 30, I'm probably stretching it, 32 animal units, something like that. And we are on about, give or take, 75 to 80 grazable acres, right? And we're not gonna have to feed hay this winter unless something goes terribly, terribly wrong. We have so much standing forage in front of us, it should not be any kind of problem. So, you know, that's pretty good, you know, somewhere around 30 or just over animal units on 75 acres of land, 80 acres, and we're not gonna have to feed hay. So I expect that number to go up as our stocking rate continues to increase. As our stocking rate increases, so will the performance of our land because of practicing the system. It's just improving our land so fast that we should easily be able to stay up with it. We should be able to easily stay up with our grass to our cattle's needs, right? So, have your cows ever beaten you before? Nope, never been beaten. I actually don't have too many funny stories with the cows. They're so easy and chill. All my good cow stories are other people's cows that are crazy. I've had my face almost ripped off a couple times. We don't take any milk from these cattle. These are just beef cattle, and the calves that are on them take all the milk that is available. Now, could we thief some? Yes, absolutely. We have some girls in here that are so docile, very, very tame. And a lot of the beef breeds, actually, believe it or not, have very, very high butterfat content. So if you can thief a little bit, you'll make some tremendous butter off of them. Let's see. All right. Hey, Jason, how you doing, buddy? You were moving polywire. All right. Look at you. You're doing it. That's awesome. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I was just trying to show some condition of the animals and how they're looking, but now it's gotten dark because I've run my neck too long. But the reason I just wanted to state, again, a little update, why we're running like this with just cattle kind of helter-skelter everywhere. It's because we're letting them selectively graze right now to get some really good condition on them. And then in about I don't know, we're gonna see how it goes. Maybe a day, day and a half, something like that. We're gonna be firing them over right into this stuff. And we're gonna be marching them up this bottom field, heading back. This is gonna be the second grazing on this stuff. This stuff currently has around 60 days-ish, 50 days, something like that. I have to look at my grazing notes of recovery. And we haven't had rain on this stuff in, about 6 weeks. And it's growing like crazy, right? This is all the stuff that those guys will tell you that are selective grazers. Oh, if you're a total grazer and graze it too close to the dirt, oh, it's not gonna grow back. You're gonna be out of grass, blah, 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 blah. Well, they're wrong. This stuff grows back, and it actually grows back very, very palatable, very high energy. So I'm really excited about what's going on here. We're growing more grass here than ever before. And we're gonna get them in there, and I'm gonna come back and do some lives, and we're gonna show you what it really looks like. Because honestly, it's been a while since I've shown ultra high stock densities because our forage got so poor in quality that we just we started losing density and more to give the animals the nutritional requirements they needed. So you need to, if you're gonna graze like this, remember first and foremost, the most important thing about any of these grazing operations is your cattle's body condition. You have to keep good condition on them. You can't worry. I used to do it though. I cared more about my grass, and I would kind of like let my animals slip a little bit more. No, you can't do it. You have to totally focus on animals and their condition. And remember, in this grazing program, you're going to be resting half of your land all year because you're going to grow so much more grass with this method. It's crazy. I thought it was snake oil. I thought for sure it was just a bunch of BS. I swear it's not. We grow tons of grass. We have more grass than we know what to do with. But it's that year-long rest on that half of the farm. That's where the magic happens. Those are the most improved pastures because they've been unmolested for at least a full growing season, and they're just unbelievably improved. That's really where the magic happens, guys, with this. All right, let's see. Do the adult bulls? No, they don't try and nurse anything. But I will say this. Huh. Your adult bull, he's your breeding bull, and he tries to nurse, huh? That's kind of wild. Now, I've heard of like 1.5-year olds, like 1-year olds. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's some of those around. And honestly, I feel like that's more of the cow's fault. That's her problem. She should be kicking those animals away. She should have the genetic ability, the inherent ability, heritable trait to say, okay, you're done. And she starts kicking him away and not letting him nurse. So something to think about. But yeah, guys, it is getting so dark now. I apologize. We're going to be coming back to you really soon. I probably won't live again until we get them started in this stuff behind me. And once we do, I'll show you really what this grazing system is about and how well it works. It's awesome. I look forward to seeing you guys there. Sure appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. And again, if you want to know more about this stuff, absolutely look into Jim Elizondo or Jaime Elizondo at Real Wealth Ranching. And this is the Total Grazing Program we're talking about here. So sure appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to see you on the next one here pretty soon. This is Wes here. I am out. Have a good night, fellas. Appreciate you guys.